Yes, sir.
Good morning. Right. Now I wish you a very happy New Year to you all. Hello. Wish you a very happy New Year. And this year is very important to all of you. Start working hard. Have a good study plan, and stick to the plan, because there's a big uncertainty in the economy. So in day-to-day activities, but still the life should go on. So therefore, don't discourage we stick to your study plan. Have a good study plan. Do everything simultaneously. Do your studies, chat with your friends, go to FB, and again study, prepare for the examinations, reading, get the past papers and prepare for that one. That is that should be the way. The life is a bit difficult. You have to do everything simultaneously. Uncertainty is there. No way. You can't avoid that. At the same time, stick to these safety measures, health instructions, wear mask and maintain distance, like so on, everything. Okay. Now, today, the first thing in the morning, we will discuss the quiz. Just to remind you, it's a very short question paper. Quiz number 4. Question number 3, I believe. Yes, question number 3. We have 3 questions. The graphically you have to interpret this thing. Then after that, second question is the shifting of demand and supply curves. And third question is about the calculating quantitative type question, calculating equilibrium price and quantity. Second question is shifting of the demand or the supply curves. And first question is drawing supply and demand curve, right? Supply and demand curve, mathematical question. All 3 are mathematical question, right? Okay, except 2, of course. 2, of course, right? Okay. Now let's discuss the first easy question. Actually, all are easy, but this one is descriptive. Question number 2. Can you read the question number 2? Question number 2. Draw a normal demand and supply diagram for laptops, assuming factors other than laptop price are constant. Show the impact of the following changes on the price and the quantity supply of laptops, right? So the draw a normal demand and supply diagram. Laptop, demand for laptops, supply of laptops. X-axis quantity of laptops, y-axis price of laptops, right? Then after that, once you draw these demand and supply curves, first they ask the impact, analyze the impact of following the shift changes, imposition of a new sales tax on laptops. Number 2, decrease in the price of iPads. iPads and laptops are substitutes. Increase in the price of desktop computers, substitutes product, laptops and the desktop. Decision of the government to give laptop to every student in the year 13 in government schools free of charge. So that is the government decision. What is the impact on laptop prices? Increase in the prices of pen drives by 200%. Laptops and pen drives complementary goods. So understand, first you have to draw the demand and supply curves. After that, you have to decide, take one by one each of these shocks and decide whether it is a supply side shock or the demand side shock. Accordingly, you shift demand curve. If it is a demand side curve, then you decide whether demand curve should demand increases or decreases. If it is supply side shocks, you have to decide whether supply curve shift to the right or to the left. Accordingly, you can decide the what is the equilibrium, new equilibrium price and quantity. Understand? I'll read the question again. Draw a normal demand and supply diagram for laptops, assuming factors other than laptop price are constant. Because when you draw the demand curve, we assume other factors are held constant. Consumers' income constant, price of desktop, price of iPads, price of pen drives, all are constant. Number of consumers, they are constant. When you draw the supply curve, also you assume the price of labor, wages, interest, other input cost, they are constant. Right? Then we decide each shock, imposition of a new sales tax on laptops. Sales tax is a supply side or the demand side shock? Tell me. Sales taxes affect the supply side of the market, sales tax, or the demand side of the market? Or taxes is in the supply function or the demand function? Yes? Hello? Which side? Which function? Yeah? Supply. It is a supply shock. Okay. Now let's go to the diagram again. Let's go to the board, of course. Let's go to the board. Right. Now we'll go to the board. This is the one. Please tell me if you can see the board. Yes, Now first, we draw the supply and demand curves. Supply and demand curves for the supply and demand curves. Quantity of laptops, QLT laptops. Price of laptops, PLT laptops. QLT, price of laptops. Right. Then demand curve, demand for laptops, DD. Demand curve, supply of laptops, supply curve. When you draw the demand curve, that's a negative relationship between price and the quantity demand of laptops. Price and quantity demand of laptops. Then can you see the board? Can you see the board, please? Hello? Can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, right. Then along this demand curve, we assume other factors are constant. Prices of substitute goods, maybe desktop prices, iPad prices, prices of complementary products, pen drives, prices of pen drives, complementary goods. Then consumers' income is constant, number of consumers constant, expected future price of the laptop constant. Right. Then supply curve. Supply curve, we do supply curve. SS. Again, when you do the supply curve, we assume prices of factors of production fixed, inputs fixed, cost of production fixed. Then the government regulation, sales taxes fixed, number of the firms fixed, right? Expected future price fixed, right? Now this is the equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium price and quantity, Q star and P star. Is the diagram they expect. Now the first thing is the draw the impact of the imposition of a sales tax. Sales tax. What will happen when the government imposes sales tax? Taxes discourage the suppliers. Taxes makes suppliers sad. Therefore, they will tend to reduce, they are willing to cut down, they will reduce the supply of that particular good or service. Reduction of the supply is indicated by the shifting the supply curve to the left, Supply curve shift to the left. Right. Okay. Then what will happen? SS to S1, S1. First shock. That indicate the direction of shift. Direction of shift is important. Supply curve shift to the right. Supply curve shift to the right. Can you see? Yes. Right. Okay. Then what will happen? New equilibrium price and quantity here. New equilibrium price and quantity here. Q star 1, P star 1, P star 1. Quantity decreases, price increases. Price increases. A to B. This is the diagram. In the examination, we expect this kind of, this is a complete diagram. All axes are indicated, the marked. Diagrams are marked, demand curve is marked, supply curve is marked, new demand curve, new supply curve, new equilibrium price, shifting, direction of shift. Okay. Right? That is important. Right? So this is the diagram we expect, complete diagram. Right? So then what will happen? At new equilibrium price, because of this shock, equilibrium quantity decreases, market price increases of laptop increases. If the laptop is 150,000 rupees per laptop, because of this sales tax, it will go up to 175,000. 175,000. Right? That is the rupees. Let's say rupees per laptop. Quantity of laptop. Right? What is the second shock? Can you please read out? What is the second shock? Second shock is what? Yes? Hello? Can you read the second shock? First shock is sales tax. Second one is what? Please tell me. What is the second one? Hello? Question number 2, part B. Part B is what? Hello?
Sir, can't see the presentation.
You can't hear?
The presentation.
Board, can you see the board?
No, we can't see the presentation. Board we can see, but the presentation we cannot see.
Okay. Can't you hear me actually? Can't you hear me?
No. I can hear you, sir.
All right. Present now. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Right. Second shock is decrease in iPad prices. Decrease in iPad. I will take down. Decrease in iPad prices. Decrease in iPad prices. Third one is increase in price of desktop. Increase in price of desktop. Then the decision to the government to decide part D. Part D is the government to give each laptop free. Laptop to 400,000 students, A-level students. Next one is the increase in the pen drives. Okay, right. Increase in the decrease in price of the iPad. Okay, I will go back to the board. Back to the board. Right. Okay. Number two, the decrease in price of iPads. Decrease in price of iPads. Decrease in price of iPads. Will that be supply side or the demand side shock? That is my question. Laptop market, iPad. Decrease in price of laptops. The laptop market demand and supply curve is there. What is the decrease in price of iPads? Will that be supply side or the demand side shock to the laptop market? Hello?
Demand side.
Demand side.
Demand side. Why is that?
Demand
Because
side.
laptops, yes, laptops are, and the iPads, we assume they are not perfect substitutes, nearly substitutes. It's a demand side shock. In other words, you have to shift the demand curve to the right or to the left, up or down, up or down. I will erase all these the things. Now this is the original diagram. Original diagram is there. Okay. Initial market is there. Initial market is there now. Right. It's a demand side shock. Decrease in price of iPad. Decrease in price of iPad. Decrease in price of iPad. Price of iPads. Decrease. Price of iPad decreases. Then what will happen? Consumers will shift their consumption from laptops to iPads. People increase the demand for iPads, decrease the demand for laptops. Demand for laptop decreases. If we assume they are perfect substitutes, yes, let's assume they are perfect substitutes. So people definitely shift. Some of the consumers will shift that demand to the iPads. Increase the demand for iPad, decrease the demand for laptops. Then what will happen? Demand curve, demand for laptops decrease. Shift to the left. Shift down. Shift to the left. You are on the demand curve. Shift to the left. New demand curve will be D1. Demand curve shifts. As a result, new price is lower. Quantity is lower. New price P1 less than the initial price P star. Direction of shift. New demand curve D1. New equilibrium at B. So that is the answer to this one. So the shift the demand curve to the left. Demand decreases. Demand for laptop decreases. Why is that? Because now the iPads are cheap. People will increase the demand for iPad, decrease the demand for laptops. Demand for laptop, demand curve shift to the left, right? Shift down. In other words, shift to the left or shift down. Okay. Third one is the increase in price of desktops. First, you have to decide whether it is the demand side or the supply side shock. Increase in the price of desktop. Tell me, is that the demand side or the supply side shock? Yes? Tell me. Desktop. Hello? Yes? Demand side. Yeah? Hello?
Demand side.
Demand side shock. Good. Demand side shock. Desktop increases. Then what will happen? Demand for laptops? What will happen? Demand for laptops? Tell me. Demand for laptops? Increases. Why is that? Desktops and laptops, we assume they are substitutes. Now the substitute product is expensive. Therefore, consumers will increase the demand for laptops. What will happen to the demand curve? Now, this is other factors. One of the other factors. The changes. One of the other factors. Earlier, we assumed desktop price was constant. Now, desktop price is higher. Therefore, demand curve, demand for laptops increases. Demand curve shift to the right. Demand curve will shift to the right. Demand curve will shift to the right. Demand curve will shift to the right. That is the third. For each shock, you have to draw a separate diagram, because that's why I don't. In this case, demand curve will shift the right. Demand for laptops increases, DD to D1, D1. New price is higher, the quantity is higher. Both price increases, quantity increases. This is the diagram. Price of desktop increases. Price of desktop increases. Increase in price of desktop. Right. Then the third one. We'll keep third one first. Let's get the last one. Increase in price of pen drives by 200%. By 200%. Pen drives and laptops. What kind of goods are they? What kind of goods are they? Pen drives and laptops?
Complement goods.
Sorry?
Complementary goods.
Complementary goods, because you need both. In the case of complementary goods, consumer wants both tea and sugar, tea and milk, complementary. Then the tires and tubes, complementary, right? Then laptops and pen drives, complementary. Then you go substitute goods, either A or B. Laptop or desktop, or laptop or iPad, like that. These are complementary goods. Now what will happen? The pen drive price increases. Pen drive is expensive. Pen drive is 200% increase in pen drive prices. Then what will happen? Demand for the laptops, demand for laptop decreases. Demand for laptop decreases. Demand for laptop decreases. Now remember earlier, the desktop price increases. Demand for laptop increases, substitute goods. In the case of substitute goods, when price of one good increases, quantity demanded increases, same direction. In the case of complementary goods, when price of a complementary product increases, pen drives increases, demand decreases. They are moving opposite direction. Opposite direction. Then what will happen? Demand curve will shift to the left. Demand curve will shift to the left. I will draw it again. Demand curve will shift to the left. Initial demand curve, quantity of laptops, price of laptops, initial price and quantity, Q star, B star. Now what will happen? Because of this pen drives price increases, demand for laptop shifts down, decreases. Demand curve shift to the left. DD to D1, D1. That is part E. Part E. We didn't discuss this is the last part. Part E. Quantity decreases, price decreases. P1, A to B. A to B. Right? So therefore, this demand side shock. You decide the nature of the shock, then the direction of the shifting direction of the shift, the nature of the shock. Number one. Then we decide the direction of the shift to the right or to the left. After that, you indicate the new diagram, draw the diagram and indicate new price and the quantity. Right. Okay. This is the last part. Increase in price of pen drives. Pen drives. Right. Now the part D. Part D. Now this the part D is very interesting. Part D. Now the decision, government decides to give a laptop free of charge for all A-level students. This was one of the election promises of the previous government. The Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe, they mentioned that okay, if they come to power, they will give the laptops free of charge for every A-level student. This is happening in most of the developed countries. Australia, it is given. the A-level student is given a laptop free of charge, right? But the thing is, in our case, it was not fully implemented because of the lack of funds, right? Okay, but that's a good proposal, right? Okay. Now what will happen? They say there are about 400,000 the students, 400,000 students, A-level students in Sri Lanka, A-level students. When each student is given a laptop free, what will happen? What will happen? Today, you decide to give a laptop for each student. What will happen? Will that be will that be demand side or the supply side shock? Laptop market is there. Demand curve, supply curve. Demand side or the supply shock. Yes? What will happen? Demand side or the supply side? Yes?
Both sides.
Both sides. Okay, good answer. Then what will happen? Immediately what will happen? Immediately what will happen? Very short run.
Supply will increase.
Sorry, demand or the supply side? Very short run.
Supply will increase.
Yeah?
Increase in supply.
Increase in the?
Supply.
Well, we assume the supply is not enough, right? Not enough in the market. Now market is demand equals supply. Demand equals supply. We don't have extra the laptops here. Laptop always either you hand carry or the imported laptops. Imported laptops. These stocks can be there in some of the companies, but immediately what will happen? Tomorrow you have to give that laptops. Government call tenders and ask demand the government demand laptop from each and every supplier. So immediately demand increases. But in the long run, what will happen? When companies don't have enough stocks, if the stocks is finished, they have to import and supply these things. Immediately, supply is not affected. Immediately, demand is affected. Agree? Or any other argument? Both sides are affected. Agree? But in the short run and in the long run. In the short run, quantity demand education department place orders. You want to buy? We are going to buy. We need the 400,000 laptops. Okay. Demand increases. Demand for laptops increases. Demand cost shifts up. Right? Okay. That is the one. So what will happen? Initial demand and supply. Initially, demand increases, demand cost shifts. Initially, price of laptops, market price increases. Demand increases, market price increases. Then what will happen? In the long run, what will happen? Now when demand increases, number of laptops, demand for laptops increases, demand cost shift. In other words, number of consumers increases like that. But each student is a consumer, right? Like that, demand increases. Then what will happen in the long run? What will happen? Now, long run after 2 years, 1 year, 2 years time, suppliers know that. Now we want to increase the market supply of laptops. As a result, maybe supply curve comes down somewhere here. Market price of laptops might come down to somewhere here. Initially, price overshoot, then come down. Something like that. Initial price P star, P1 star. Short run. In the long run, you have P2 star. It will come to this level because of the increased supply. This kind of time path is there. Dynamics is there. Price overshoot, then it comes down. Price overshoot, for example, in March, when government health ministry requested the citizens, the people to wear face mask, price of face mask overshoot, price went up. It was around at that time, it was around 15 rupees or 10 rupees. But when because of this demand, price went up to 60 rupees, somewhere 100 rupees, right? Normal the face mask. But in the long run, what will happen? Now face mask price has come down around 60, it is 30, sometimes 15. So it has come down. Initially, overshoot price. The same thing, price overshoot because of the higher demand. Now in the long run, it will come down. This is a time path. Time path of this, the time path is this time trend. Over time, this is the price, movement of price. Price overshoot and then come down. That is once one of you actually answered, is both demand side and supply side? Yes, answer is correct, but short run, long run. Okay. Right. Now we will come to this next question. Last question. Some demand and supply curves are given. What are the demand and supply curves are given? I get the demand and supply curve. First, take down these things. What are these? The demand and supply curves. Number 3, part 3. QD equal 20 minus 2px. I will write down this. QD equals px. QS equals minus 10 plus 3px. Number 2, QD equals 100 minus 2px. QS equals minus 10 plus 9px. Number C, 150 minus 2px. QS equals minus 30 plus 40. Right, okay. Now I'll go to the board. And let's discuss a little bit of theory now. Theory will discuss the right. Now you can see the board. This is purely a mathematical question. Demand curve is given. Number 1, 20 minus 2px. Supply curve 10 minus 10 plus 3px. So the demand curve, there are no other factors. Income, number of consumers, the expected price, they are not given, because in the demand curve we assume other factors are held constant. Remember, the demand function, we include all the variables. In the demand schedule, we assuming other factors are constant, we think quantity demanded is a function of only price of X. Demand function is different. Demand function, you have Px, the other consumers' income, expected future price, number of consumers, like that. Here the demand schedule, then demand curve. Now this, we know there is a negative relationship between quantity demand and the price. Therefore, this can be written as quantity demand for good X equals, let's say, the 20 minus 2px. Don't worry about these values 20 and 2. It can be any number. The examination, they can vary. But the demand curve, what is important is, this is important. Minus sign. Because that minus sign indicates there's a negative relationship between price and quantity demand. So that is demand function, demand schedule, demand curve. mathematical equation, right? Don't worry about these numbers. Numbers may vary. You can see numbers vary. 100, 150, -2, 9, 4. Like that. Sign is important. Why? There is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. When price increases, quantity demanded decreases. That relationship is indicated by, captured by this minus sign. Minus sign. Right. Supply side. Quantity supplied also equal price of X, prices of factors of production, then the technology, government regulation, expected future price of the good, number of companies, of firms, like that. Supply function, supply schedule, Px. What does that mean? When other factors are held constant, we assume quantity supplied is a function of price. What kind of relationship is that? Positive relationship. When price increases, quantity supplied increases. When price increases, producers are willing to supply more. Therefore, supply function. I take this is supply function -10 plus 3px. Again, don't worry about these numbers 10 and 3 and this minus. Don't worry, but worry about this now, this sign. That should be sign plus. It should be plus. Why is that? That plus indicates there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. This number, there's an economic reason for this one. So some of you may know why it is negative. We can explain, because when price is 0, people will supply negative quantities of that, right? When price is 0, suppliers are now willing to supply the good. When price is 0, as a result, this will be negative, right? That is the economic reason. But in our case, this is important. Demand side, this is important. Minus. Others, of course, don't worry. Now you can see all these demand curves minus, plus, minus, plus supply curve, right? Now they are complied with this our requirement, right? Okay. Now equilibrium price and quantity demanded. Equilibrium price. Quantity demanded is this. Quantity demand, I write it here. Quantity demanded index is 20. Same thing. Px, quantity supplied -10 plus 3px. Now, equilibrium price and quantity demanded. Can you work out? Some of you are familiar. Okay, I will draw this diagram. I want you to calculate what will happen. Demand curve, like this. Supply curve, like this. You want to calculate this price, quantity. Right? You want to calculate that. What is the equilibrium price and quantity? Mathematical. Two equations are there. Demand equation, supply equation. Quantity demanded, how quantity demanded varies with the price, how quantity supplied varies with the price. Now we have to, there are two straight lines. If you have done mathematics, mathematician just they might say, okay, at this point of intersection, we can find out coordinate, because at this point the quantity demanded and quantity supplied same. Well, you equate these two and calculate price and quantities. Economics of that is what? At this equilibrium price, what is the equilibrium price? At the equilibrium price, consumers are willing to buy quantity Q at that price. Suppliers are willing to sell the same quantity at that price. In other words, both are happy, contented, satisfied. Suppliers are happy, to buy that quantity at that price. Producers are happy to sell that quantity at that price. Consumers are happy to buy that quantity at that price. At that price, quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. That's why when you calculate, there should be an economic statement, not a mathematical statement. Economic statement is this: at equilibrium. This is the statement. This is very important. QDX equal QSX. Now in the examination, you have to write down that statement. QDX 20 minus 2PX minus 10 plus 3PX. Simple equation of price. Simple equation of price. You bring this minus 2px this side, minus 10 this side. 20 plus 10 equals 3px plus 2px. Therefore, 5px equals 20 plus 10, 30. Px equals 30 divided by 5, 6. Price 6. Price is 6. Price is 6. Quantity supplied and quantity demanded. What is quantity supplied or quantity demanded? You can substitute this 6 either to demand function or to the supply function. Answer should be the same. Price that at that price, quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. So therefore, if you substitute 6 of this equation, QD equals 20 minus 2px, 6. 20 minus 12, that is 8. QD. Let's say supply curve, QS equals minus 10 plus 3px. Px is 6. That is minus 10 plus 18. QS, therefore it is also 8. QS. That's why in the examination you need not to substitute to both demand and supply curves, because if one is enough, 8 quantity. If you supply that to the supply curve, that also is the same marks. This is 8. In the examination, if you take only one curve, one function, and you can calculate the demand curve, demand with supply. 8 and 6. Equilibrium quantity, equilibrium price. At that price and quantity, market is in equilibrium. No change, no movement. Both are happy. Consumers are happy, producers are happy. Right? So the nowadays the market equilibrium price of coconut around 100. Around 100. We don't have any choice. The consumers are even we don't happy. We are not happy, but we don't have a choice. Market price is 100. Producers selling to sell coconut for 100 rupees. Consumers are forced to buy that price. You can't say you are happy. You are not happy, but it is equilibrium price. You should be happy, right? Okay. Price and quantity. Suppose for some reason, now answer is okay. You know how to calculate. Suppose for some reason market price increases. This point. Market price increases to this point. What will happen? There should be excess supply of the good in the market. Excess supply. Because when market price is high, suppliers are happy. They are willing to supply more. Producers, suppliers are happy. Consumers are sad. They will buy less than the equilibrium quantity. They will demand less than the equilibrium quantity, but the suppliers are willing to supply more than the equilibrium quantity. Therefore, there will be excess supply. Excess supply. Similarly, if the market price decreases, consumers are happy. They increase the demand. producers are sad, they decrease the demand, there will be excess demand for the good, right? Right. Okay. That is the, in addition to this, some analysis of this good, equivalent price and quantity. Question. Now I am going to ask another question based on this diagram. Suppose government thinks this equilibrium price is very high. This is high. Government want to control, put a cap, control this price. Should the government put the cap at 5 or 7? My question, answer. Government thinks equilibrium price is high. Some people cannot afford this price. Therefore, government is going to control the price, put a cap, ceiling on the equilibrium price, right? Then my question is, should the government impose this ceiling at 5 rupees or 7 rupees? Tell me. Answer.
7 rupees.
Yes? No?
7.
5 rupees, right? You said 5, no?
7.
7 or 5? 5. 5 rupees, yes. 5 rupees. Why is that? Because the equilibrium price is high. Therefore, government want to control ceiling price, impose a maximum price. Maximum price, they should be imposed below the market clearing price, below the equilibrium price. That is below 6. Below 6. Because if government thinks, okay, this 6 is very high, we have to put a cap, put a ceiling. Ceiling price is, maximum price is imposed below the equilibrium price. It should be here. It's not 7. Not 7. Right? Okay. Right. Question number 2, I want you to calculate. Calculate is question number 2. Calculate equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium price and quantity. Tell me, I'll give you 5 minutes. Can equilibrium price and quantity. Tell me, loudly you can tell me equilibrium price is so much, equilibrium quantity is so much. Please tell me, calculate. 5 minutes. Now it is 11:22, 11:25. 25? Yes. Equilibrium price is 10. Good. Quantity how much? Quantity how much? Good.
Quantity is 80.
Quantity is 80. Everybody can get the number. Kiran has calculated. Then now is the other lady. Yes. Quantity 80. How much? Yes. Yeah. 80. Lakshika. Yeah. Okay. Now. You understand how to calculate. Quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. 100 minus 2px equals minus 10 plus 9px. You bring you bring the 10 to one side, then 110, then bring the 2px to the other side, then altogether it is 11, 110 and 11, 110 equal 11px, px equals 110 divided by 11, 10. Then you substitute this 10 into one of these equation, for example, demand equation, 100 minus 2 into 10, 20. 100 minus 20 is 80. 80 and 10. Okay. Okay. Can you, similarly, can you calculate the third number, question number 3? Question number 3, part 3. What is quantity demanded and quantity supply? Quantity demanded and quantity supply. 150 minus 2px, minus 30 plus 4px. Quickly, 2 minutes. Take 2 minutes.
Pricing
Yes, price is how much?
30.
90. Quantity 90, price 30. Price 30, quantity 90. Price 30, quantity 90. Price 30, yes. QD equals QX. QS 150 minus 2PX. Yes, answer is correct. Minus 30 plus 4PX. Then the 6PX equals 180. Then PX equals 30. If we substitute 30 into one of these equation, Q equals 150 minus 2 into 30. 150 minus 60, that means the 90. Q. Diagram like this. 90, 10. 90 and 30. 90 and 30. Q. Right. Okay. That is the diagram. Now, mathematical, in the examination, they ask you to, if they give a question from the demand and supply, market demand and market supply, market forces, quantitative type question, this is the first part. They give the demand curve, give the supply curve, and ask you to calculate equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. After that, they give you certain shocks, either demand side shock or the supply shock. Then ask you to analyze the problem. What will happen? Increase in the desktop prices, like early example. Drop in iPad prices, imposition of a sales tax, free distribution of iPads, like that. You draw the diagram and decide new equilibrium price and quantity. That is the question, type of question, standard question that examiners could ask from you, right? Okay. Now we will, first question, I am not going to calculate, I'm going to draw, but anyway, let's see the first question. First question is this. First question is this. Hypothetical supply and demand data for toasters are shown below. Plot the supply curve, demand curve, and find the equilibrium price and quantity. Now you have the price and the quantity demanded. Demand schedule is there. Again, you have the price and quantity supplied. Supply schedule is there. Using these numbers, you have to draw the demand curve and the supply curve. Equilibrium price and quantity can be calculated. Equilibrium price for toaster and the equilibrium demand, the quantity of toasters, right? That is the one. You can calculate. You can calculate draw the diagram and point of intersection. Indicate the equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity. Now I am going to ask a question without drawing anything. By looking at this table, can you decide, can you guess equilibrium price and quantity? See what will happen. 10, 10, 12, 9, 14, 8, 16, 7, 18, 6, 25. Then see the supply curve. 10, 3, 12, 4, 14, 5, 16, 6, 18, 7, 28. What is the equilibrium quantity and equilibrium price? Can you guess? In between what? In between what? Can you guess? Demand decrease. Quantity? Yeah? What is the equilibrium, price? It should be between 16 and 18. You can see. Understand? You can see equilibrium price would be 17 and quantity 6.5, 6.5 in between. Can you guess that? Can you see? By without drawing that, you can decide 17, 6.5, 17, 6.5. Agree? You can see demand decreases. If you draw the demand curve, now I'll go to the board and question number 2, question number D, part D. Demand for toasters, price of bread increases. Price of bread increases. Part D. Part D. Then the invention of toaster oven. Toaster oven. Right. Okay. Now this we go to the board and calculate. Right. Toasters. Price of toasters and quantity of toasters, price of toasters. Now this diagram, I want you to draw this diagram, indicate price, quantity, demanded, price, quantity. Name these axis, indicate a scale, and then you can draw. Mark these demand points, mark the price and supply points, and connect these demand and supply curves. As I said, definitely you will get the number here, 17. This one will be 6.5. If you calculate, if you draw correctly, plot this point. Plot the point, price and quantity demanded, price and quantity supplied. You can get this equilibrium price and quantity. Right. Second question, they ask, when the market price is 12, what will happen? 17, market price is 12, somewhere below. Market price is 12, what is the market situation? Market situation is what? 12, if it is 12, market price is 12, then what will happen? Excess demand or excess supply? At 12, at this point, what is excess demand at this point? At equilibrium, what is excess demand or excess supply? Tell me. Grant, what is the excess demand or excess supply at equilibrium?
0.
0. Good. Why is that? Quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. No excess demand or excess supply. It is 0. But price below that. At 12, quantity demanded is higher than the quantity supplied. Then there is excess demand for the good. How do you explain that? Because the equilibrium price is 17. For some reason, if the equilibrium price decreases to 12, what will happen? Consumers are happy. Consumers increase the demand. But when price decreases to 12, producers are sad. They cut down the supply. That's why that excess demand created. Excess demand is created. Demanding higher than the supply. Similarly, if the price is 20, you are here. Suppliers are happy, suppliers increase their supply, willing to supply increases, willingness to supply increases. Consumers are sad, they cut down the demand, therefore there is excess supply, excess demand. That is the market situation, right? Market situation, right? Second question, okay, now the part D. Part D I will ask. Part D, what will happen? Part D they ask when price of bread increases. Price of bread increases. I use the same diagram. Price of bread increases. Price of bread increases. What will happen? What will happen? Bread and toasters. Toasters and bread. Bread and toasters. Toaster is a machine. Toasting. That is used for toasting bread. Now, so now there are toasters in most of the time at home. You have toasters, the simple toasters, very cheap toasters. Chinese toasters are there, very quite cheap, but very expensive. The Black and Decker, expensive toasters are there, UK made, European made, but most of the Chinese made toasters are very quite cheap. Right? Toasters and bread. What kind of goods are they? Complementary goods. Consumer needs toast and bread. They are not substitutes in that case. You can consume either toaster or the bread. That is funny. But toaster and the bread, they are complementary goods. Now, price of a complementary good increases. Price of bread increases. Price of bread increases. Bread is expensive. Nowadays, bread is, there are different product differentiation in bread market. Product differentiation is there. Lots of product differentiation. 80 rupees, 90 rupees, 150 rupees, 120 rupees, the whole meal, the kurakan bread, then sandwich bread. So lots of the different price categories are there, different product differentiation is there, like market for cars, right? Then when price of bread increases, what will happen to quantity demand of toasters? Quantity demand of toasters decreases. Because complementary good, when the price of a complementary good increases, quantity demanded of the particular good decreases. Demand curve shifts. Now, equilibrium price, new equilibrium price is here. Decreases, right? Quantity demand, quantity decreases, price decreases. Bread is expensive, right? Then that is both equilibrium quantity and the price decreases. And the price decreases. That is so. Then last part E. In the party, toast oven is coming into the market. New product is coming into the market. It is an oven. Earlier only the toaster. You can toast bread. You put the slices, and after the 1 minute or the 40 seconds, bread is coming out with toasted. Now this is a new product. You can toast, and oven is also there. Toast oven. Both functions can be done in this new product. Now what will happen? Now people start liking this new product. Toaster, only toasting, but you have the toaster oven also there. Right? People start liking this. What will happen? What will happen to the market for toasters? Market for toasters. I will draw this again. Think about that. Tell me the answer. Will that be a new product? Will that be a demand side shock or the supply side shock? That is my question. Think about it. So toasters, this is toasters. what will happen? This is the existing product, toasters. New product is coming. What will happen? Now the question says, where people start liking this new product, people start liking this new, existing consumers start liking the new product. Then what will happen? The demand for toasters. Demand for toasters? Yes?
Decrease.
Decreases. Why is that? Some people shift their consumption from toasters to toast oven. Therefore, demand for toasters decreases. Earlier, when you draw this demand curve, you assume there were, let's say, 5,000 consumers. 5,000 consumers fixed. Now, what will happen? Some of, let's say, 1,000 consumers left this market and start buying toast oven. We have only remaining number of consumers, 4,000. Demand curve shift down. That is the one way to explain this, the behavior of the consumers. Behavior of the consumers. another variable is you can argue. Some of you can argue taste. The demand function, you can say taste is a variable. Taste is a variable. Then what will happen? Because of the new product, taste, consumers' taste, preferences, likes and dislikes, that decreases for toasters, decreases. Then what will happen? Demand curve shift to the left. So you can say when you in the examination, if they ask about the reasoning is, you can say either consumer taste decreases, as a result demand decreases, or number of consumers decreases, demand curve shift down. Demand curve shift down. These are the three questions, right? I want to do please answer those questions and have maintain separate the file for these quizzes. Of course, I want you to answer these questions and maintain separate file for this one. Understand with the diagram, good diagram, nicely drawn diagram, and calculations are important. Have a separate file for the handouts and for the quizzes. As I said earlier, for each and the end of the lesson, I will give you 1 or 2 quizzes. For micro, only 1 quiz, right? Okay. Now that's all about the quiz. What is the time now? If you have time, we can go to yes. We have the half an hour. Now you can go to our usual lesson, elasticity. Right. Yeah. The effect of price and income on demand. I think up to what point we discussed. So I can remember we define elasticity measures, co-elasticity measures. Then we discuss price elasticity of demand, elastic demand, inelastic demand, perfectly inelastic demand, perfectly elastic demand, shapes of the demand curve we discussed, right? Demand curve. I think up to that point we discussed. Then the define price elasticity of demand. We said, what is price elasticity of demand? PD is the percentage change in quantity demanded divided by the percentage change in price. That is the definition. Then we had the problem. What is the problem? When price increases, quantity demanded decreases. Then PD decreases. When the price increases, price decreases, quantity demanded increases, then PD increases. All 3 variables, all 3 varying. Therefore, it's very difficult to define PD. Then we have some strategy, some the way out, some trick. What is that trick? We fix percentage change in price is 1. if that is 1, denominator is 1, then PD is equal to percentage change in quantity demanded only. PD is 1, delta P is 1, delta P is 1. Therefore, when delta P is 1, PD equals quantity demanded, percentage change in quantity demanded. Now we can define what is PD. PD is defined as the percentage change in quantity demanded of a good resulted by a 1% change in the price of that good. That's easy. When you have this kind of formula ratio, you fix one of these and then define the term. That's a shortcut method to define. Otherwise, all three variables, you can't get the proper definition of the PD. Right? PD is defined as the percentage change in quantity demanded of good resulted by 1% change in the price. These are elasticities. Perfectly inelastic, relatively inelastic, demand curve is steeper. Demand curve is vertical, perfectly inelastic. Relatively inelastic, demand curve is steeper. Then relatively elastic, demand curve is flatter. Perfectly elastic, demand curve is horizontal. Right? Unitary elastic, what does that mean? When price changes by 1%, quantity demanded changes by 1%. 1 to 1. Therefore, PD is 1. That is called unitary elastic. Demand curve is rectangular hyperbola. Shape is rectangular hyperbola. That is the shape of the along rectangular hyperbola. This price elasticity of demand is 1. If the demand curve is a curve, it could be a curve. Not always it is the straight line. Right? It could be a curve. No problem. Some textbook they say demand line, demand curve, demand curve. Some students come and ask, okay, why sir it is curve, but we draw line. Perfectly correct. Line is a special case of the curve, or curve is a special case of a line. It doesn't matter, right? Some textbook they draw curve, some straight line, no problem. Unitary elastic, rectangular hyperbola. It's a mathematical concept, right? Right. Now this is the up to this point we didn't discuss. This is the point we have to start now. Now we are going to applications of PD. What are the applications? Why this concept, price elasticity of demand, is an important concept. It's a very important concept to policymakers, to the treasury, to the traders. If they know this concept properly, they can decide, right, whether to increase the price or decrease the price. Right? Sometimes the traders might think, okay, if you want to have, if you have some cash flow problem, okay, we'll increase prices of all our products. Then we can get more and more the revenue. That is not happening always. If you increase prices of all the goods because of this cash problem, you increase. You ask the assistant to increase the price, change the price tags, increase the price. Therefore, we can get higher revenue. No, that won't happen. Now we see the reason. Reason is the elasticity. Elasticity, by looking at elasticity, you can decide the pricing policy. So the traders or the producers, sellers can decide their pricing policy by looking at price elasticity of demand for their product. Government also can use the information given by this elasticity for their tax policy, whether to increase the tax or decrease the price. Taxation is the main source of revenue. Government main source of revenue is taxes. Government is a lazy entity, very lazy entity. Government doesn't work as a unit, doesn't work. We work. You all work. People work. People go to office. People do work. People do compulsory overtime. Then every day, hard working. Like that, government as an entity, not working. Government live on other people's money. That means government live on taxes. Tax is the main source of their revenue. It's a very lazy entity, right? Either you have direct taxes or indirect taxes, corporate taxes, right? Import duty, export duty, license fees, all are taxes, right? Government use this money and spent for various product, various expenditure on education, health, like that. Government but the tax policy can be decided using the price elastic of demand. For example, now you might think every budget, government increase the price of cigarettes, price of alcohol, tax on alcohol, tax on cigarettes, increase, right? What is the purpose? Final idea is to get revenue. But in 1995 budget, government cut down the price of beer, reduce tax on beer to get higher revenue. Then you might think when the price cuts, the revenue will go down. No, it went up. Reason is the price elasticity of demand. So the PED is useful concept for the producers, the sellers. By looking at the price elasticity of demand for their product, they can decide their pricing policy, whether to increase the price, whether to decrease or the decrease price, or no change the price. Government also can use this the concept by when imposing the taxes, whether to increase taxes, decrease taxes, or the no change in taxes, right? Now, this section we are going to discuss why is that? For some goods, by increasing the price, you can get the higher revenue. For some other goods, by decreasing the price, you can get proportionately higher revenue. For some goods, whether to increase or decrease the price, no change in revenue. Now we are going to discuss the reason, right? The PD provides useful information to policymakers. Total revenue equals, total revenue equals the price of a product multiplied by the quantity. If you sell 5 loaves of bread at 100 rupees, 5 into 100, 500, price into quantity. It is also equal to the consumer's expenditure. If I buy 5 loaves at 100, I have to spend 500. That will be revenue of the producer. That's why total expenditure equals total revenue. Total expenditure 500, total revenue 500. Revenue of the producer, expenditure of the consumer. P into Q. That is the fundamental equation. Right? Now, if P rises by 10%, price increase by 10%, what will happen to the quantity demanded? When other factors are held constant, when price increases, quantity demanded, what will happen? What will happen when price increases of a good or service? When other factors are held constant, what will happen to the quantity demanded of that good? Yes? Decrease. Decrease. When price increase by 10%, particular good. Now this says if quantity decreases by more than 10%, let's say 20%, price increases by 10%, quantity demanded decreases by 20%. Change in quantity demanded 20, change in price 10. Price increase by 10%, quantity demanded changes by 20. Therefore, 20 divided by 10, percentage change in quantity demanded 20, percentage change in price is 10. Therefore, 20 divided by 10 is the PED, 2. 20 divided by 10, it is 2. Elastic demand. If the quantity demanded changes, Q changes more than the 10%, demand is elastic. First good, demand is elastic. Second good, if P rises by 10%, Q falls by less than 10%. P rises by 10%. Q falls less than 10%. Let's say 3%. 3 divided by 10, 0.3. 3 divided by 10, 0.3, less than 10%, inelastic demand, relatively inelastic demand. Second good. Third good, P rises by 10%, Q falls by 10%. 10 divided by 10, elasticity. Quantity demanded, percentage in quantity demanded 10, percentage in price is 10. 10 divided by 10, it is 1. Unitary elastic demand. Now, we have discussed, illustrated three types of good. First good is elastic demand. Q falls more than 10%. Second good is inelastic demand. Q falls less than 10%. P rises by 10%, less than 10%. Third good is unitary elastic. Now what will happen to the revenue? Now let's see this first statement. Demand is elastic. First good. P rises by 10%. People cut down the demand more than 10%. What will happen to revenue? Revenue decreases. Price increases by 10%, 100 to 110. But people cut down the demand 100 to 80, 100 to 60, more than 10%. Therefore, producers' revenue decreases. One thing. Second one, P rises by 10%. People don't cut down their demand that much. It's a necessity. It's like rice, like bread. You can't cut down the demand that much. Therefore, inelastic demand, price increases. People cut down demand less than 10%, definitely revenue rises. Revenue increases. Producers' revenue increases. Right? Because people won't cut down demand that much. First good, people cut down the demand more than 10%. Reduce the demand, as a result, revenue decreases. Third case, P rises by 10%, Q falls by 10%. No change in total revenue. Proportionally, no change in total revenue as a result of the price rise. Right? So therefore, three types of goods. Some goods, the demand is elastic, price increases, revenue decreases. Demand is elastic, PD greater than 1, elastic demand. Second good, demand is inelastic, PD less than 1. If price increases, revenue also increases. Right? Because people won't cut down demand that much, revenue increases. Then third good, P increases, quantity also decreases by same percentage, no change in revenue. Now we will ask the question. Let's start from this last question, last quantity, last good, unitary elastic, third one. Third good, can the producer, seller use or increase or decrease the price of that good to get higher revenue? My question, read clearly. Third question, unitary elastic, third type of good, unitary elastic demand. Can the producer use a pricing policy to get higher revenue? Yes? Should the producer increase or decrease to get higher revenue? Third good? Or no change? Yes? What is the answer? Third good, third good. Yes? Hello? What is the answer? Increase or decrease? The third good. Increase or decrease? To get the higher revenue? No change. You should not change the price. Whether you increase the price or decrease the price, your revenue is same. Revenue won't change proportionately. Why is that? When you increase price by 10%, people cut down the demand by 10%. When you decrease the price by 10%, people increase the demand by 10%. Revenue, same. Percentage by revenue, same. Therefore, you cannot have pricing policy for the unitary elastic demand. You cannot increase, you can increase the revenue by changing the prices of third good. But second good, what will happen? Inelastic demand, when price increases, revenue increases. When price increases, revenue increases. Yes, second good, producer can increase the price. When you increase the price more and more, your revenue increases because it is inelastic demand. Inelastic demand. For inelastic demand, when you increase the price, revenue also will go up. You can have a very clear pricing policy. If you know demand is inelastic, less than 1, 0.3, 0.5, 0.7. Okay, producer definitely can increase their revenue, their prices. By doing that, they can get higher revenue. First good. If P rises by 10%, Q falls more than 10%, revenue decreases. First good, elastic demand. When P rises, price increases, revenue decreases. Very interesting. Proportionate revenue decreases when price increases because it is elastic demand. Proportionately price decreases. As a result, what will happen? So what is the pricing policy? You cut down the price, then revenue increases. That is the interesting case. If the demand, if you know demand is elastic, for elastic good, by decreasing the price, you can get higher revenue. That is the trick. If the demand is inelastic, by increasing price, you can get higher revenue. If the demand is unitary elastic, no pricing policy. Because when you increase the price, people cut down the demand by the same percentage. Right? Now you have some idea about the relationship between price elasticity of demand and revenue. First good is elastic. For the elastic good, producer can get higher revenue by reducing the price. Second good is inelastic. Producer can get higher revenue by increasing the price. Third good is unitary elastic. Producer cannot get higher revenue by changing the price of that good. Unitary elastic. Now, very interesting concept, price elasticity of demand. Now you can answer. Cigarette, the Sri Lankan concept, inelastic demand. As inelastic demand, therefore, government always increase the price of cigarette. Government revenue increases, inelastic demand. Alcohol, strong alcohol, right? Whiskey, right? Then the old arak, right? Then they are inelastic demand. Therefore, government, every budget, they increase the price, revenue increases. But I said 1995 budget, government decreased the price of beer. Why is that? Price of beer at that time was relatively elastic demand, had relatively elastic demand, elasticity greater than 1. Then policymakers at the treasury, they knew that it is elastic. Then what do? They reduce the price. Elastic demand. Reduce the price, revenue increased. That happened. Right? The drastic cut down in price of beer. Then people were surprised. Why is that? When beer is cheap, people start drinking more and more beer. So therefore, the government revenue, tax revenue increase. Right? So understand this argument. Understand the argument and why they are the reasons. Right? Okay. I will summarize. If the demand is unitary elastic, no pricing policy. If the demand is elastic, greater than 1, reduce the price to get higher revenue. If the demand is inelastic, less than 1, increase the price to get higher revenue. Right. Now, second topic is determinants of. I will go to one of these. Okay. Determinants. Right. Determinants of the PED. Now, different goods have different elasticities. Some are elastic, some are inelastic, some are relatively elastic, some are relatively inelastic. That means some have value greater than 1, value less than 1, without the sign. Right? Some are unitary elastic. Different goods are demand for rice, demand for coconut, demand for dal, demand for vehicles, demand for the toothpaste, demand for the bread, demand for snacks, right? So some are elastic, some are inelastic, right? Demand for mutton, demand for chicken, right? So demand for fish, right? demand for the demand for shirts, demand for saris, right? Demand for shoes. Some are elastic, some are inelastic, some are unitary elastic. Actually, elasticity measures consumers' response. When price increase, the consumers' response is very sharp, very quick, very sharp, elastic. When price increases, consumers is not in a position to have a drastic decision, cut down the demand that much. Put coconut price, you can't change your response is consumers from the response is very sluggish, slow, inelastic. Right? Now this section asks the question, why do different goods have different price elasticities? In other words, what are the determinants of PD? Factors that determine the elasticity of a good, elasticity of a good, right? We have identified the three factors. One of the important factors is availability of substitutes. Second one, proportion of income spent on the good, proportion. Third one, period of time. Different textbooks have different the factors, but these are the key factors, key determinants. Availability of substitutes. Some goods have more substitute product. Toothpaste, Signal. Let's say Signal. What are the substitute goods? Colgate, Klogard, Supriviki, Sudanta, right? Then then Sensodyne, right? Large number, yeah, PNG, yes, right? Substitute products, large number of substitute products, more and more substitute products. Now what will happen? Let's assume Signal. When price of Signal increases by 10%, people have more choices, more substitute goods. Then what will happen? They quickly change their demand to other product. If price increase by 10%, people might change the demand by 20%. But they have substitutes product. Here the assumption is we assume these two different types of toothpaste are perfect substitutes. The addiction is there now. If I am using the Signal, I'm addicted to that. I always buy Signal, right? And then then the TNG, some other person TNG, you always buy TNG, right? Then Sudanta, this always buy Sudanta. But here we assume that this kind of addiction is not there. Perfect substitute. The price of Signal increases, we can change the demand. There are more and more substitutes. Quickly, demand is more elastic. More substitutes are available for a good. Demand for that good is more elastic. Elasticity greater than 1. If no substitutes are available, there is no substitutes at all, demand is perfectly inelastic, vertical demand. Insulin, people don't have a choice. When whatever the price of insulin, you have to buy the same quantity, same number of tablets, right? Should be purchased per month. As a result, demand is perfectly inelastic. But if you have more and more substitute, demand is more elastic. More elastic. If more substitutes are available for a good or service, demand of that good is relatively more elastic. Elasticity greater than 1, a little more elastic. Compared to a good or service that has less substitutes, toothpaste versus insulin. Second one, proportion of income spent on the good, proportion of income, right? For example, in household expenditure basket, you have different expenditure categories. Food, clothing, electricity, fuel and light, clothing, health, education. Now, this expenditure coming under education in household expenditure. For data, you are paying something that is coming under the education, The household expenditure, broadly speaking, you have food expenditure, you have clothing expenditure, then electricity, and the other infrastructure, water, fuel and light, and the water. Then you have the education, health. Like that, different broad categories are there. Income. So out of your total expenditure, maybe you spend more on food proportionately. 20% on food, then another 10% on electricity, another 10% on the housing, right? The water, then another 10% on the health, education, 15%. Nowadays, the education is very expensive because of this online education system. So I have inquired some of my friends. They say household expenditure. One of my friends has two daughters. Got two daughters. One is doing A level. The other one is O levels. Then the tuition fees minimum. You said earlier, no online normal classes. He had to spend roughly about. I wanted him to do the calculation. They have just started. A levels just started. O level just started. Then they said 22,000 per month before COVID. After COVID, it has come down to 16,000. So then you can see about 6,000 saving. 6,000 saving is there. You can say it is because of the transport, then other expenses, and other reason. He gave a very interesting reason because of this the group classes. Those who are conducting group classes, masters, they also reduce the price to the other normal level, right? That's a small saving. Other thing is for data. Also, sometimes some teachers start the classes 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. The nighttime data is free sometimes. Therefore, that saving also there. He has saved around 6,000 rupees, right? Because of this, so education proportionate because of this COVID, especially the online system. Because of the online system, some households proportionately the expenses has come down. But you know that I saw paper article on the Rohan Samarjeeva, leading researcher in the country about this IT sector. Professor Rohan Samarjeeva had written, yes, I can remember. He said only 54% of the school-going children had the online the facilities getting signals. Very pathetic, right? So 54% has got. Then 50% 50% has got. Oh, yeah, 50% has got. The balance, the 46%, 46% is not getting the signals, right? Then there are difficulties. Sometimes you must have seen they climb this water tank and get the signals, right? Sometimes they climb some places here. As I remember, some news items was there, right? Then get the signal. So these are the disadvantages of getting online. Using the online, but online system is good. Because everything is now online, making payment, paying salaries, everything. Sometimes listening to the Bana ceremony also, the appointment, giving appointment also online, right? Collecting information online. Everything is online. The developed countries, it is free. Online is a very useful, very efficient. But in Sri Lanka, still it's not widespread thing, but we don't have a choice. Because of the COVID, we are compelled to use online. But students don't like online. Some students, because you have to have a chat with your friends, come to the classes, and the bullying friends, the bullying your sisters, have some interactions with the girls and boys you like. you like the other system, but can't help, right? So why I'm telling about this online advantage and disadvantages this time in the examination, they might ask online. It's a new emerging area. No? They might ask you to analyze the economic of this online using economic analyze, right? Okay, analysis of this online using online, right? From this point onward, I will stop. Next week, this is the starting point. Determinants of PED. Please go through the note. Please work out all the examples in the quiz number 3. Then come to the class by reading. We start reading this one, right? Any questions? And I can answer you. Yes, please. Can ask me. Yeah, we'll stop now. We'll stop now. Now, the next week we'll see you. Next week is when? When is next week? Today is 2nd. 9th. 9th, yes. 9th, we'll see you on 9th with this continuous lesson. I'll give the other handout also. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening. Thanks. We'll break up. No? Hello? Hello? All have left? What? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We'll stop now. We'll see you on next week.